Boris Herrmann, so great to speak to you. And we met some time ago on a go-kart track, actually 5 years ago. But I didn't know at the time yet that in a couple of years you would be one of the greatest sailors and fastest sailors out there in the world. So it's a pleasure to speak to you, and so cool as well to see how our whole country of Germany has like embraced your challenge and has been so fascinated by what you're doing.
Yeah, hi Nico, great to see you again, and what a cool memory, our day on the go-kart track. And thanks, thanks for having me here today, and looking forward to also chat about your conference.
Yeah, so speaking of conference, so it's our great pleasure that you're going to have a keynote in person on the 17th of June, which is next month, at our Green Tech Festival 2021 in Berlin. And so first question really is, what is like most dear to you in terms of sustainability and of course for the oceans that you would love to like discuss as well at our conference?
Well, I'm a professional sailor since many years, and sailing, likewise car racing, I think is a very mechanical and technology driven sport, and I love technology. I'm a bit geeky even, actually. So I believe very much in innovation to solve the climate crisis. Of course, there's a political sphere, there's the way we can consume more responsibly, but really key, I think, are green innovations, and in all sectors of society, in mobility especially, of course. And I'm really curious, first of all, to see what you're going to show over this conference, and what we're going to learn there. And I'm really eager to learn in that sector. Ourselves, we are a lot involved with the shipping industry, and there's a lot of talks going on synthetic fuel, on fuels on the base of renewable energy, and things like that. And that's super exciting, I find.
But please give me one name then of a company that that you've recently discovered or seen, and one example of like awesome innovation that they're doing to make maybe the shipping industry more sustainable.
Yeah, we are partnering with Kühne Nagel, with Hapag-Lloyd and MSC. And Hapag-Lloyd, for example, recently ordered 6 new giant container vessels. And they have a kind of more modern engine technology where you can burn gas, different types of gas. They are basically, when they come out next year, they're basically ready to burn carbon neutral fuels that already exist, like e-methanol, they call that. So it's kind of a derivative of green hydrogen, where you just add other stuff and you come to this synthetic fuel. But of course, there's not enough fuel yet for these huge amounts of fuel they need, and but that could fall into place quicker than we think, I hope.
Do you know where this e-methanol is produced? Because of course there's the important the supply chain, and to see that the production is as well CO2 neutral and from renewable energies. Do you have a little bit of a background story to that?
Exactly, yeah. There's no solution online yet for them as an industry as a whole. So really each of these big carriers and shipping companies is trying to work out on specific lanes to source some of the fuel on a one-to-one basis almost. It's not like an industry-wide solution yet. I know of one fascinating project here in my hometown of Hamburg, in Schleswig-Holstein, the state, the neighbor state. It's called Westküste 100. And we have a huge wind park of Ørsted wind farm in the North Sea, and it brings green electricity to Schleswig-Holstein, and there they make green hydrogen, and from a cement factory, they take the CO2, inject that in the green hydrogen, and then you can make all kinds of synthetic fuels out of it for cars, for the Hamburg airport, green kind of sustainable aviation fuel. So I really see this could be the future.
That's fantastic to hear, but of course it needs to be a system-wide solution. That's where we're getting to. But it's great to see these individual case studies already popping up, and we have the CEO of Ørsted participating in our Green Tech Festival this year as well. So there's another connection there. If it's okay, I would love to go to your sailboat as well, because your sailboat itself, not only are you there to try and win like the Vendée Globe last year, but also you're gathering data. Can you take us through a little bit of the technology you've got on your boat, which does the data gathering?
Absolutely, yeah. We have an automated lab on board that pumps seawater through permanently and analyzes the CO2 concentration in the oceans where we sail. We do that since 2018. And now this recent race, the non-stop round the world Vendée Globe race, we gathered a data track around the entire globe, and especially around Antarctica. It's of particular interest to the climate scientists. Because there's very, very little shipping, basically no commercial shipping at all. We are the only guys going through these waters.
The only crazy guys.
yeah, and then that data is very important to kind of calibrate the global models. Of course, there's kind of assumptions over the entire oceans around the globe. How high is the CO2 concentration? But if you get one precise data track, then you can really recalibrate the whole climate model. And this is available in global databases to scientists all over the world, and has been already quoted in really important publications. Also, the Global Carbon Budget, we're there with the boat name Malizia in the kind of literature. So something we're really proud of, and that was a small contribution that we could do while doing this race around the world.
But that's great news, how you're there to win, but also to contribute in such a way. And is there one most alarming finding that you have now seen as a result of being a part of this data gathering? Is there something that was most shocking to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, we knew already before the CO2 concentration in the ocean rises and is alarmingly high. It is much easier to measure in the atmosphere, because in the Earth's atmosphere, it mixes much more. In the oceans, it takes actually 100 years between the moment where the CO2 goes from the atmosphere into the surface and then further down in the layers that are lower down. So the impact on the oceans, I only start to grasp and wrap my head around, is so significant. I mean, the 93% of the heat energy of global warming is captured in the oceans. And a lot of the CO2, the man-made CO2, is ending up in the oceans at the end and then acidifying and leading to all kinds of consequences, coral bleaching and things like that. So we knew the general context before, of course, but to have more precise data is important for the scientists.
Yeah, you're speaking about bleaching. I was in the Maldives with my family last year, and there is not a single color left. I mean, it was shocking. We went scuba diving. It's 100% gray. It was heartbreaking really to experience that, and the effect that also has on the whole animal life around there. It was really alarming to see firsthand.
And yeah, that illustrates something which is a bit tricky, is that the change on the oceans is so dramatic, but it's invisible unless you look at corals and stuff like that. The change of temperature in CO2 in the water, the acidification, we cannot see it with bare eye. We come back with this data, but it's a bit hard to explain. I think really corals are a really important icon or kind of example to kind of bring this more to people's mind, what's actually happening. And it's really shocking to think about the consequences on coral reefs.
Yeah. Anyway, we have very much in common how we want to use sports as a vehicle to contribute as well. I'm also doing that with my Extreme E racing team. So we're doing that with cars, with off-road cars, electric cars. You're doing that with boats on the ocean. So there's a lot of parallels there, which is also really cool.
Absolutely. I think ambition is a really important keyword, because what we need all over the place is ambition to have a transition happening as fast as possible. And the transition is made by people the transition is made by people that have ambition or increase their ambition. So I think with our sport, hopefully we can inspire for ever more ambition every day to just move faster and put new innovations in place even quicker.
On the sporting front, then, Boris, what can we expect from you for next year? This year, sorry.
Yeah. This year, not so much visible, but behind the scenes, we are working really hard on designing and building a new boat to then be more competitive and at the top of our sport from next summer onwards. And then next winter, we will be in a team race around the world. So with a crew on board, we'll not sail alone this time, around the world with 10 stopovers in kind of big cities in Cape Town and in Shenzhen in China, in Auckland, New Zealand, Brazil, in the US, and so on. So that will be a huge race over 9 months in a bit more than 1.5 years' time from now.
And that's, I mean, it used to be called the Volvo Ocean Race, and it's now called the Ocean Race. So it's one of the most legendary sailing races in the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Boris. I look forward to seeing you again then at our Green Tech Festival conference on the 17th of June. Very excited to welcome you there. Thanks for taking the time today. And yeah, so see you soon.
Yeah, thanks for the chat, Nico. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm sure it's going to be exciting.
And let's keep on being ambitious, right?
Exactly.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Talk soon.